You should never have opened this place again. Did you know that a young boy drowned?
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
What's going on here? Please help me get out of here.
It's just this place.
Welcome back to Cocktail Cinema, folks, your weekly movie review podcast. It is spooky season here at Sippable Opinions. I am your first favorite bartender, your third favorite author, Josh Price. And I'm here with my bestest of friends, Greg and Shasti.
Yo, yo.
Glad to be here, Josh.
Yeah. Today we are going to be reviewing the original Friday the 13th. This movie came out in 1980. It was directed by Sean S. Cunningham. It had a very meager budget of $1,000 and had a box office return of $59.8 million. A huge hit.
Wait, repeat that again.
Just over $500,000 budget and just under a $60 million return.
All right, that's solid.
Huge.
1980.
One of the biggest hits we've covered. And a lot of that has to do with this movie's place in history as one of the first slasher movies.
When it was okay, they're just like, yes.
Well, we're transitioning.
People were okay
out
now,
of,
like with just watching people die?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, absolutely.
1980 is the day.
I mean,
They're okay with that.
we tried to get Jamie Kennedy on as a guest to explain this whole thing, but he's booked.
We'll see that they didn't have the means to pull off true slasher flicks until these geniuses kind of came together and did what they did. So.
And they did it with a budding cast. I mean, there's nobody that's known at this time, but maybe a couple of names that we'll recognize now. Greg, who we got on the cast list?
All right, well, first things first, we're going to start with Adrienne King as Alice. Moving on to Harry Crosby, Bill, Kevin Bacon, stud as Jack. He's kind of the only one that's kind of household name in this one, sort of. It's kind of sort of. Mark Nelson as Ned, Janine Taylor as Marcy, Peter Brower as Steve. Sorry, getting into it. Steve, the camp owner. I'm sorry. And Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees.
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
And
What was that last name? Voorhees.
And Jason, maybe, sort of?
Well,
Jason?
I'm Mrs.
We'll get into that.
Voorhees.
We'll get
right.
into that. Before we do, though, we have a tradition that we need to uphold. Much like going to camp every year, we need to raise a glass. So this, in front of us, is the Slasher Smasher. This drink is an ounce of blackberry brandy, an ounce of cherry brandy, and 3 to 4 ounces of CBD cider.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
this will be making you feel
It's got
nice
weed
and
in it?
cozy.
No, just CBD.
Salute. Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
A little bit of a variation on a fruit smash. You know,
I was
and-
hoping that it would taste like it sounded in your description. It does. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Wow.
This was a collab. I got
That is
I got probably
actually
your
really,
second
really
favorite
good.
bartender together.
Right. And especially for fall, for sure. It's fall-y. It's end of
It's a campfire
season
drink.
beer. Yeah, no, it's great.
Blackberry and you say raspberries?
Cherry. Blackberry and cherry.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, this I'm very happy with how well-rounded this drink is.
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
Maybe more so than the film.
Yeah. So we're going to start this off right now. Make no mistake, this movie sucks
Yeah.
as a film. But where this makes its mark, much like some of the films we've watched for Halloween this year, is its ability to do a lot with very little. We're talking about a tiny budget, and these guys pulled off some amazing things.
Right.
We were talking about practical effects in House of Wax, and this movie is just as iconic when it comes to the practical effects. Where when you talk about making things look believable, there's The Thing, there's House of Wax, there's Friday the 13th, and not too many other movies on that list.
The thing they use, I want to remind people, they use actual amputees for
This is true.
that's the lengths you had to go to without computers.
Yeah.
And The Thing was right around this time too, and this is just mere couple years before computers
Yeah.
You know, not only is it
CGI.
cheaper, but I mean, just think of an explosion that was not only expensive but dangerous. We just talked about House of Wax and
Yeah.
incidents that happened there, but this is something that it's also it's more cost efficient and safer for
Yeah.
everybody in the surrounding studios
Right.
too, as well as your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah, spot on.
Absolutely.
And you know, I didn't mention one important part in the cast because he's not really part of the cast, but he is. Savini. We're talking practical effects,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
this
I guess
is
gonna
Our
go
boy
with,
Savini, Tom
where-
Savini.
Tom Savini.
yeah. I mean,
A
He's part of the
legend, a
cast.
legend in the effects game. You know, off the top of my head, I don't remember what he's been in, but every time I see him, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be solid. Like, this is someone who,
They call him the SFX wizard.
Yeah.
like he's the Snape of special.
I know he's
great.
consulted on a whole bunch of movies.
Yeah, because we've seen
And
him in
not
like
just-
half
yeah.
of the shit that we've done. Like,
Right.
Dusk Till Dawn, Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
Machete. This is all. It's all his effects.
And I mean, think
actor,
yeah.
SFX wizard, stuntman, director Tom Savini.
it's all Julian.
Think about having to work with Robert Rodriguez and the
Yeah.
effects that he demands out of his team.
Right,
There's
right.
nobody else that could do this. And you know, I think we're gonna have a common theme here, like we did with House of Wax, and to some extent Tucker and Dale versus Evil, where the team that made this movie, no one else could do it the same.
Right.
True.
Right.
Like with Tucker and Dale, it's more of the way the actors work together. You know, you've got our favorite Juilliard dropout in that movie.
Yeah.
And then House of Wax, you've got the great Vincent Price as your pinnacle. And here we have 6 no-name actors, and then Betsy Palmer, who, you know,
Yeah.
she's all of these people came out of soap operas.
Right.
So they're not household
And that
names
black
except
and white,
for, you know,
like
your grandma.
romantic movie kind of scheme, as far as she goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're spot on with that.
So
Spot on.
you're right. The biggest part of this cast
Is her.
is Tom Savini.
Yeah, I'm sorry, her and Tom Savini. But yeah.
Well, and then it's funny that she doesn't show up until
Yeah, the very end.
late into the last act, but she's present through the whole thing. But yeah, this movie's not huge on sound design. It's got the iconic but
So I'm pretty sure the one picture I had of Ari, Jason, like
yeah,
Ari
was.
Lehman
I'm pretty
or
sure that's Savini working out there.
he's just
You know
a
what I'm
beautiful
saying?
man, beautiful man.
But very cool stuff with the makeup.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that guy's working on this model himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like he was, you know, dictating all of his work to his team. This guy was hands on.
He took it over.
That's why
That's
he's
his
a
design.
wizard.
Yeah.
He was the one who he said that in his neighborhood there was a drunk derelict that he got the character like his image.
Yeah.
You know, we know him now after 3 movies he started wearing the mask.
Yeah.
That's like what you picture. You know, you don't picture the kid, you picture the big grueling
Yeah.
dude who's invincible.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like that's
Jason's
Savini's
face,
creation in a sense, you know? We do these movies and like we talked about V. Neil with Beetlejuice, which was like I think exactly a year ago. Like
Yeah.
around the end of
Yeah.
September when we were getting into this. And it's kind of touching light on these aspects of these films as the producer of this podcast. I don't know.
No,
It's
for
like,
sure.
well,
Well, to be honest with you, that's the only part of this movie that's good.
It's true. It's true.
Like
it's
this,
true.
I mean, the practical effects and being a producer. That's why I wanted to hear you talk on this kind of shit because you're totally right. For the layman person to watch this movie without nowadays, it's like
You take some stuff for granted,
That's junk
you
kind of
know?
stuff, But no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie itself, the plot, like characters. There's no really in you don't even know who the characters are. Like I'm hard pressed to tell you who's
Yeah.
who because
Yeah.
they don't spend a lot of time getting to know those characters.
Kevin,
It's
I just know
just
Kevin Bacon is Kevin Bacon.
right.
yeah, he plays himself.
Yeah, right.
It's
And there
one
was-
of the degrees.
and there was like that
something.
like mandatory like boob shot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just had
Yeah.
to be there. And
Oh,
it's
there
like-
was a lot of horn dogs. Like, man. The
Well, it's
ladies
all the-
and the gents. There was
It's all the camp counselors without the
Yeah.
campers. Like, of course,
Well, they
this
set
is
the
gonna
tone
be
because that's
Boone
why
City.
they say
Yeah, it's Camp
Jason.
Horny.
Jason.
Like, you tell,
Yeah, right.
Like really, if you're about to go to summer camp, they're like, "Oh, you mean Camp Blood?" And you you're like first person, like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like the third person, you're saying that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be pretty damn horny to still go to that camp.
It's funny. We actually live where we're doing this podcast at, close to a town called Crystal Lake.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually has a lake and everything. So it's, I don't know, it's just kind of funny.
Absolutely.
It's a little scarier during spooky
Well,
season.
there's several like iconic like slasher horrors that are somewhat based in this area. Like this one with Crystal Lake, you can make the argument that it's here.
Munger Road.
Oh, Munger Road.
And Michael Myers is from what is it, Plainfield? Is that
Aurora?
right?
No, that's
Wayne's
Wayne's
World.
World, bro.
No, like Michael Myers is from the suburbs.
a good one.
Really? In Chicago?
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's cool.
Yeah. So
And what? Wasn't it Hannibal Lecter in like the
Ooh, Joliet. He was in Joliet prison. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Wow.
The-
yeah.
and they talked
Closed
about
penitentiary.
the mental house of the Kimball campus
Yeah.
in Elgin.
Yeah. So like our area is. There's a reason there's so many
We're
spook
the
dogs
spooky
around
boys.
here. You know, and I'm proudly one of them. But like this flick is important for two reasons. The first is, like we talked about, the practical effects are beyond phenomenal.
Yeah.
The other thing is, even though this is at the beginning of the genre or the genre change, this flick has a twist. The murderer, the killer, is just Mrs. Voorhees. I guess spoilers for
Well, I'm
1980s
Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, right.
Friday the
You haven't
13th.
seen- yeah, we're not
I haven't
spoiling
seen it in
shit.
the last 30 years. But
Check it out.
it's
The mom
so
is the
different
killer.
because in the rest of the Friday the 13th series, it's always Jason. With the exception of one Halloween, it's always Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. Like, there is no doubt who is hunting you.
But this time it was
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
Exactly.
And it's,
Exactly.
And it's fun to see how far this has come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking this at 1980s at Camp Crystal Lake, where the mom's the killer, and you flash forward, and it's like Jason versus Freddy in outer
Yeah.
space. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you guys giving me credit for seeing through some of this stuff, but really this like has to be the best out of all of them.
Yeah,
like,
it's gotta
far
I don't
as,
know.
like,
Freddy,
it's gotta be, yeah.
Jason Takes Manhattan is pretty
Oh
good.
my god, that's like Made in Manhattan, the worst movie ever made.
No, this whole
I've seen
series
it with
was
Jennifer
fucked
Lopez.
from Jump Street. No, it's all bad, but it's like the first Rambo. So when you think about
First Blood Part
when you think about First Blood,
2.
it is leagues away from First Blood 2 or Rambo 1. depending on how
Rambo
you wanna
1,
look at
First
it.
Blood. Rambo
Because it's First Blood
Part 2.
Part 2 colon
First
Rambo.
Blood Part. Yeah. Spot
So
on,
First
spot on.
Blood, the first Rambo movie,
Which is so
is a
crazy.
gritty kind of. You can compare it a lot to the feel of the first Friday the 13th movie, and then in the second one, Sylvester Stallone's like, you know what I want to do? Murder everyone. And then in the second,
and I want to do all the writing, and I want to do all the producing.
and then in the second Friday the 13th movie, Jason comes out of the water and he says, you know what I want to do? Murder everyone.
Maybe she's still dreaming.
Maybe.
The twist was cool, but it was also like nobody knew 20 movies were coming after
Right.
that. They
Yeah.
still twisted back to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, at the time, think about this: like your murderers are Vincent Price's,
Yeah.
or their
Yeah.
creature features, where it's a big monster,
Right.
or even I think at this point the first. There's been one or two slasher movies, but this is right at the beginning. So you're used to a big lumbering crazy person, and in this case, it's just somebody's.
Right.
It's a soccer mom.
Well, even to make the
Well,
same movie,
I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
even to make the same movie a million times over, they're playing at your dream sequence too. You know, like we all have reoccurring dreams, so they're trying to make that a point. You know, I feel like, especially with Nightmare and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, obviously, but yeah, just they want to they're playing on your secrets. They're playing on your dreams. They're playing
Yeah.
on like, oh, I had a bad dream about this once. Let's see what they can do about it this time.
Absolutely.
God,
Absolutely.
that's, you know, it's where I get it.
And I mean, the slasher genre obviously gave birth to the gore the gore porn,
Right,
the gore
right,
horror. It's not actually gore porn; it's what they call it, gore porn. With like Saw, and Saw had 7.5 movies. We don't really talk about the last one, and then a great revival. But anyway, this spawned a lot of the tropes that would be upended in the next generation of horror movies. This movie,
Right.
we can draw a direct line from the first Friday the 13th movie to Tucker and Dale versus Evil, where everybody expects Tucker and Dale to be Jason or Mrs. Voorhees or some crazy person, some crazy people that are killing kids. But in that movie they flip it, and they're able to do that because in this movie they establish the trope. And that's important. It may not have been
It
done
is.
real well.
No, exactly.
But it's important.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the line we're drawing right here. Is,
Yeah.
the movie's more as far as critically looking at this, movie's about essence and effects instead of
it's got a place in history, but
and you can see there's museums over it.
Reasons.
You know what I mean? Especially that there's lockers and glass cases for everything that they've worked on. You know.
Now, we talked a little bit off mic about our personal fan theories, and we have not done a fan theory segment in a while. So, Greg,
nope,
we're going to argue. Is Jason alive in this movie?
Yes, I think Jason's alive in this movie.
Why?
Because the famous Kevin Bacon scene, the hand that grabs him across the forehead, very much so looks like it's been sitting in water for ages and it's decrepit and stuff like that. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
And I think they wouldn't have given so much time at the end of the movie. For the kid's still there. The boy's still there. She when she was touching the water, you know, there was some. I don't know.
I can.
She's
see
nuts,
where you're,
obviously, but
she's traumatized,
right?
Big time.
Yes.
But I don't think Jason's alive in this movie, and I also don't think this is canonically in line with any of the movies except for maybe Friday the 13th 2, Part 2, where that girl who survives this movie, she is in the next one, and then we don't have any continuing characters from the first movie. I mean, the crazy guy from town narrates Part 3, but he's not really a character. So I don't think this is in the same universe as the rest of the series. So I think Jason is alive supernaturally in the rest of it.
Away there because I was like you're talking about universes, and I'm like Jason for whatever. Sorry.
No, Jason X, yes, definitely goes to space and has the cool new mask.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if Jason.
Hey, what do you think?
I think. All
Break
right,
this
so
one up. You're
on your
the
side.
tiebreaker.
On your side, I will say that if Jason was alive, it's like you said, like someone was in the water for eternity. I see like someone was stuck at summer camp practicing archery for eternity because all the use of the arrows. It's like Mrs. Voorhees isn't that dude.
Yeah, right.
Like she's not that Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Like,
And also at the end of the movie, the closet of guns she falls out. It's like, all right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, let's be smart.
so
here.
I won't. But there's not enough for me to say Jason is helping in that sense. But I don't think. Like, we know she's a tough old lady.
Yeah.
But I don't think she could have pulled
She's
off
not
a lot
running
of
down those-
by herself. You know what I mean?
She throws somebody through a window that's like
She's
at least 6
chasing
feet off the
down
ground.
women.
Like, I get your
There's
argument.
already the misdirection. So beyond that, my imagination is just like, okay, there's all this other shit going on there.
When they look at the face of they make a point to every victim. They look at them close up before they're killed, and it's always looking up.
They look up, yeah.
And you know they sheer in horror, you know, because of some.
That's why it's hard to believe it's just her though.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I'll give you that, but I disagree with you, but I'll give you that.
All right.
Going back after watching a million Jasons, you're like, you think they're looking up and it's just Big Jason. You forget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun going back and watching this one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's more fun
it was
talking
important.
to you guys about it than I was watching it.
I love this movie.
I hate this movie so much, but I have to respect it because, I mean, the practical effects put this firmly in its place in history, and you know it grounds this generation of horror movies. And we've been talking a lot about eras of horror, and this year we talked about the Vincent Price era, we talked about the slasher era, and we talked about the postmodern like comedy horror era. So having this available to dissect was a wonderful little treat. Even though this movie is so hard to watch, and I know all the twists that are coming, all the murders, it was still fun to see it from a technical aspect because I've never watched it that way before. I think the last time I watched this, I was probably in college, and I watched almost the entire series back to back to back.
Right.
So it's just you get lost in the killings.
Yeah.
Put up the death count.
Yeah, but anything else you want to go around the horn? Anything else before
I
we
was
do
just
taco
imagining the
ratings?
trauma, like you said, binge watching all of them, going back and watch this one is like,
Staying in bed for
Yeah,
2
yeah.
weeks crying.
I took a day off of school. It was a Friday, and Halloween was on a Saturday, so I took that Friday off, and I just I think it was the Sci-Fi Channel had them, and I watched the first 7 Jasons and then the first 4 Halloweens. Just didn't stop. I slept on the couch with those movies playing.
And then you went to school.
2 days later. Yeah. Sunday
days
Sunday was different. Sunday, for whatever reason, Gremlins was on, so it changed the whole
You're lucky
vibe.
it's not nowadays. You would have been like Flash or something.
I think whatever watch lists I'm on because of all the horror movies I've watched, I'm just gonna stay there.
Right.
All right. So here at Cocktail Cinema, we like to rate our movies out of 100 tacos because tomatoes are trademarked, and they also go bad really fast.
Real fast.
So, what's your taco rating, Grego?
It was gonna be real low until again we talked to my man over here.
No influence.
Our master,
What's your score, man?
master of the mix here. Bring it back. All right. Well, I'm sorry. 69.
69.
69.
I get it. Mikey?
Sorry, I have no explanation.
I'll give Friday the 13th a cool 78. I'll give it a cool 78. Yeah, fuck it, 78. I'm going there.
Fair enough. I am going to give this, just for the technical aspect alone, a 73. If we're talking about the plot, this movie is terrible, but the practical effects make this movie worth watching. So 73. And I guess this is the part of the show where we find out what the world rated it.
Yeah, this one, why isn't it coming up right away? Usually I got this shit. Oh, here we go.
All right, let's take a look here.
Oh! Bam!
Oh, wow. All right, for those of you playing the home game.
Wait, no. Look, 2009.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Keep
Keep talking.
I was saying, normally it comes up right away, but there are 30 fucking versions of this.
Well, while he's looking that up, so there's 10 in the main franchise. Then there's the reboot. There's Freddy vs. Jason.
Beautiful.
There's...
Look at this.
Yeah.
You're the man. Keep going.
No, there's probably like 12 Jason movies alone. Or at least Friday the 13th
more.
movies.
When you bring in
11, Freddy vs. Jason isn't numbered. I think it's 12.
Okay.
think
I'll
it's
go
12.
more like 14, 15.
Here you go.
All right, so our official rating, we all went high.
Yeah.
So the critic rating for the original Friday the 13th is 63.
Yeah.
And the audience score is a 60.
That's probably the closest margin for those two. Like we said, tomatoes suck. But
Yeah. It's tomatoes versus popcorn on Rotten Tomatoes.
I love tomatoes so much, but
I
go
prefer
Rotten.
not right
tacos.
now.
Go Rotten,
Not right
yeah.
now.
No, so we all kind of shot high, but I think we were all also considering the craft that went into this
Right.
flick. And that's what makes this watchable. Because outside, like if it had shitty effects, this would have been lost to history.
Bomb.
We never would have gotten another one. So
yeah.
that's impressive. And it's worth remembering. And
What was the return on it?
they made back
Like a bazillion dollars?
Yeah, they made back $59 million.
Okay, yeah.
Like after
And it was
cost.
a zero investment. It was a $500,000 investment, right?
Yeah,
So many
Yeah.
high tomato
Zero
score
investment.
movies we've seen. It's like
Yeah.
increase the budget alone versus return just like
Yeah.
screws you, and then that's So
it's impressive.
Good on them
It's
to make a
impressive.
shitty film and make that
Yeah.
much money, you know?
blockbuster hit, baby.
It's worth watching,
Right.
and that's why the slasher genre is all about
Horny.
the action. Yeah, it's all about the horny action.
Yes.
Like nobody's watching. Well, maybe people are watching Jason X for the story because it's hilarious, but nobody's watching the rest of the series for the plot. You're not invested.
Right?
It's Jason's gonna kill a bunch of people. How's he gonna do it?
It's spooky time. We want to be spooked.
Yeah. And if you'd like to be spooked and tell us your score, hop down into the comments and let us know and tell us why you rated it that way. If you are listening on a podcast network, please hop on over and give us a rating. Every little bit counts, and we see it all and we appreciate every bit of it. If you'd like to support us even further, you know the deal. Hop on over to our Patreon and support us there. For as little as $1 a month, you can get all the goodness plus more. We got some exclusive shows, pilots, early access to everything. You know the drill. It's a great deal. $12 a year, you can get, what is it, usually about 15 exclusive shows a year plus pilots.
Well, yeah. Plus, I
That's
mean,
worth
if
it.
you like Cocktail Cinema, there's maybe like a dozen episodes up at any given
Yeah.
point on YouTube, and there's a whole year's worth. You know,
Absolutely.
There's
Right.
over 50
Everything's- yeah.
episodes
Right
in
there.
Everything's right there. So yeah, hop on over there and show us your love and dedicate your eternal soul. Our eternal souls are gonna have to say goodbye. So Greg, Shasti,
Josh.
love you boys.
Love you.
Goodbye.
no, they're all dead. They're